We open on Joe and Orion making a food run, and Orion, trying to pass the time with Joe, starts talking about Power Ranger trivia, like, hey, did you know that there's another universe that has a power similar to MMPR White? Or a universe where Andros is the in-space Black Ranger instead of Red? Or the universe where the Mega Team has our powers? And Joe's like, whatever, I don't really care about small trivia like that. Orion's like, okay, you want to talk about yourself? And then we get some backstory time. Turns out Joe's parents both died during the climax of Lost Galaxy when Terraventia crashed into Miranoid's moon, leaving him orphaned at a very young age, forcing him to grow up fast. And then there was one event where he had to defend himself from a bunch of street rats, which led to him being discovered by Sugra. And this is how Joe ended up working for the Zanyak for a while. And this continues Joe's unresolved issues with Sugra being Argus. Also, I totally thought of a voice for Snootus, finally. Gareth David-Loyd from Doctor Who and Dragon Age fame.
Well then, briefly, I am the Dread Wolf. I fought the false elven gods, created the Veil, and destroyed my people. I intend to restore them. Doing so will most likely destroy your will. Also, your mark is getting worse.
But with like a robotic filter, because Snootus is a robot. Oh no, the Zanyak are invading and robbing a jewelry store. And then the two morph, and then we cut back to the flagship, and Vakar is like, Damaris, why are we robbing human jewelry stores? And Damaris is like, it's for your upcoming birthday. We need diamonds for a new crown for you. And Vakar is like, a new crown? Just what I wanted! Carry on. Orion turns MMPR green, and Joe turns Dino Thunder blue. And then the Zanyak only get away with one diamond, so they try to transport it later, but then all the Rangers show up, turn into Thunder Squadron and MMPR White, then to MegaForce and Zeo. But before they destroy the monster, he uses his powers to pull in an asteroid to crush the Rangers. And then Vakar's like, move your rusting can of rotting flesh. I, Crown Prince Vakar of the Zanyak Empire, Grand Admiral of its mighty armada, of the most noble and ancient House of Gil, demand a new crown. Besides, one of our plans is finally working. He grows the monster giant as the asteroid's coming. The pirates stop him, but they toss Orion and the Q-Rex Mark II at the asteroid. Ignore the map of Japan, that's only Sentai footage. And they destroy the asteroid. Everyone celebrates, and Vakar's like, no! Navi gives a prediction. Red and gold reappears. The pirate's like, huh? But then Jake calls up Donnie, and he's like, hey, you want to hang out at the county fair? It just opened up today. The pirate's like, well, I guess that's one lead. So they head over and see Jake and Gia there. And Jake's like, oh man, I love the county fair. I've been going ever since I was a little kid. And he like pulls out his wallet and shows everyone a picture of him as a kid. And then we get our first real glimpse at Jake's mom. But in the background, we also see Gintrax and Toxica from Wild Force, revealing that after they survived Wild Force, they wandered the world until they eventually decided to make the Duchy of Circus, which is the county fair we're at. And Gia's there because Jake and Gia are a thing now. And then we start exploring the circus until eventually Bailey convinces Marvelous to play one of those balloon race games until Marvelous balloon pops before it even really gets that full. And it turns out it was shot by Burden, who's reappearing for the first time in front of the Rangers. And Marvelous is like, Burden, I thought you went down with the ghost ship. And Burden's like, well, think again. And then we get a fight scene in the circus, unmorphed, leading to the outskirts of like a forest. And then Burden pulls out his trumpet and some ranger keys from Sally's gut compartment. And Joe's like, oh yeah, right, I totally forgot he still had some ranger keys. And then Burden summons all the extra rangers and the Sentinel Knight. Sentinel Knight and Wolf Warrior grow giant, and Orion goes to deal with them as all the others have to fight the pirates who do a tribute morph to Zeo. And then they fight, and Zeo's theme song's instrumental plays in the background because anniversary. And then after they're all defeated and their keys are collected, Burden's like, well, you got me. And then Orion's like, damn right we have you. And he goes to attack him. But then Burden pulls out the Ranger key we saw at the end of Season 1 and a legendary morpher with his logo on it. And then he morphs, Privateer Ranger, set sail! And he turns into a new Ranger. He catches Orion's trident before it hits him. And everyone's like, what? And Burden's like, you like my gift from Lavira? And then he breaks Orion's fucking arm and tosses him away, causing him to demorph. The pirates now in panic mode do a final wave slash and blast, but then Burden just catches it and tosses it back at the pirates, causing them to eventually demorph. Burden goes up to Marvelous and says, you might have the majority of the Ranger keys, but Lavira just made me some new ones. I could defeat you right now and steal all the keys right this moment, but I like toying with you guys. Plus, who else is going to find the greatest treasure in the universe? Picking up where we left off last episode, Orion's in pretty bad shape. The pirates took him to the command center to heal, and now they're kind of depressed that Burden's so much powerful than them. But they can't dwell on that forever because the Zangak just sent a new general out to invade. So they have to deal with that, but he turns out to be really tough. They do a final wave slash, but it just kind of bounces off him. So then they try legendary Dynaman powers. Dynaman being from another dimension. But when that bounces off, they do tactical retreat with Aquitar Aryan Ranger keys. The pirates are now super depressed that the Zangak are getting even stronger with their invasion of Earth. But then the Mega Team decides to try and cheer them up, so then we get a montage of the groups trying to have fun, like with Bailey taking photography with Emma. And then Donnie meets with Noah, and he's like, hey, let's try to make a super weapon to fight the Zangak. And Noah is like, okay, but with you? And Donnie's like, I'm a lot smarter than I might look. I mean, when I met Marvelous, we only had one pirate sword and blaster. After I showed up, we had 5. And then the two nerds start working on the super weapon. And their first prototype is a pirate blaster with 2 key slots, which breaks after the second test they use it on. But oh no, the general reappears. So the other pirates go to deal with him, first with Jungle Fury. Meanwhile, the two nerds are continuing their work, and they decide to base their cannon off of the MegaForce cannon. But then Noah has to go back to class, so Donnie has to finish it by loading in the MegaForce keys to it. Back at the fight, they turn into legendary Blitz form, who are from Triforia, like Trey from Zeo. But when their final attack doesn't work, Marvelous gets frustrated and turns into Power Ranger Lightning to try and punch him, but that doesn't work. Lightning from another dimension. And Donnie runs in with the newly finished Red Galleon cannon. How it works is they load in their 5 Ranger keys, and since Marvelous is in the back, loading into the silver slot, this activates a red charge. And then this fires a red wave. This finally cracks the shield and destroys the monster. but then he grows giant. But then the Q-Rex Mark II flies in, and Orion's like, my arm and my head might be killing me, but I have to defeat the Zangak. I'm here to serve, Captain. And Marvelous is like, thanks. And then Orion takes out the monster. And then back at the command center, everyone's cheering and stuff. And Troy is like, the Zangak might be getting stronger, but so are we. And then all the Mega Team comes together and says, Earth Defenders never surrender. And Donnie's like, why don't we have a motto like that?